got good length.
I mean, I knew on Saturday that, I probably had one game left in me. And the start of that game, I got a dunk early in the game and got banged a little bit by Malone. And that really put me back on my heels throughout that whole game, where I was running back in the locker room, cortisone, whatever kind of medication I could get in me, heat pack, whatever, to try to carry on. But I definitely was not able to play against them.
And welcome to Interesting to See, your daily sports podcast, news, narratives, takes, and gambling. Scottie Pippen right there is on his Burn It Down tour, which is it's not starting to get sad, it's getting sadder and sadder. Duke beat Kentucky last night in college basketball. The college basketball got kicked off in earnest, which is something that people say when they want to sound smart. That's like a soft opening. There either is college basketball or there isn't, alas. We're going to start today with scandals. Scandalous Wednesday. Maybe that could be a thing. Maybe someone will sponsor that one day. Yesterday, some sort of tabloid, let's call it the Daily Mail because it was the Daily Mail, reported that Aaron Rodgers was spotted in L.A. wearing a douchey hoodie, a douchey beanie, and some douchey black skinny jeans. His lover, fiance, wife, baby mama, whatever, Shailene Woodley, reported that it was not him. And she went to Instagram to expose him. Let's look at it. It's on YouTube right now if you're on youtube.com. Wherever you're watching me, this is what she does. She takes a bunch of screenshots, she puts them together, and says, literally, y'all need to calm the fuck down. This is straight up hilarious, all caps. News outlets still grasping at straws to disparage Aaron, finding random fucking men on the streets of LA and saying it's him. So let's get it. Let's see how she disparages this. It's a dude wearing a mask. It's just like a total LA scumbag douchebag. So here we go. I know Aaron's body very well. I know Aaron's body, period, very well, period. First off, comma, his feet, ahem, and no offense to this rando dude, are a lot bigger. She's talking about his wiener. Also, for those of us who know Aaron beyond the world, obsessed with sport and shitty media, it's no secret he has the hairiest hands on the fucking planet. This is oblivious homie clearly does not. Go ahead, zoom in. Also, cute car dude, but Aaron would never drive this. Shailene Woodley's doing God's work. Aaron Rodgers was indeed not in LA yesterday, according to his lover and person, Shailene Woodley. However, he did go back on the Pat McAfee show, and it's less entertaining this time. He apologized if people were offended. Great. Totally care about that. Apologize if people were offended. I'm sorry that you are offended. I appreciate that. Thanks, Aaron. You're such a great guy. It's getting to the point now where I don't care about this anymore. He's just an arrogant tool, and it just... It is what it is at this point. The college football playoff rankings were updated last night, and I'll be honest, it is what it is. Cincinnati is now in the top 5. And that's important because it's not super common that teams outside of the top 4 or 5 have a chance to make the playoff. It's happened a couple times. Ohio State was at one point ranked 12th in the year that they won the national championship before they went all the way up. This is Brett McMurphy. His tweet says, for number 8, Oklahoma, who's undefeated, by the way. How the mighty have fallen. The Big 12 is indeed a joke. For number 8, undefeated Oklahoma to make the playoffs, Sooners will have to rally. In playoffs' 7-year history, only 8 teams have reached the playoff that were not ranked in the top 4 with 5 weeks remaining. That's 8. How many times did they do it? 8. Hold on. I'm going to do the math. Wait. 7 times 8 is 56. What's up? Is that right? 8 times 8 is 64. Yeah, sounds right. So 56, that means 48 of them have been ranked in the top 4. Whatever. I mean, who falls out? Mississippi State falls out? Sure. So here are the rankings. Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State, Cincinnati, blah, 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 blah. Oklahoma is undefeated. And they're ranked below Michigan and Michigan State. The College Football Playoff Committee, they wanted some content last night, so they ranked Michigan ahead of Michigan State because Michigan State got dog-walked by Purdue, and Michigan's only losses to Michigan State. So literally this has happened. It's happening right now. Michigan lost to Michigan State 2 weeks ago, but 4 days ago, Michigan they won their game against Indiana, but Michigan State lost their game against Indiana. So while Michigan State is factually better at football than Michigan, it doesn't matter because Michigan losing to Michigan State is acceptable and losing to Purdue is not. Doesn't matter. They're not going to the playoff. So STFU, fellas. Notre Dame is in the top 10, which is hilarious to me because Notre Dame is 8-1. Their only loss in the season is to undefeated Cincinnati, who's not in the top 5 despite being undefeated with a win over Notre Dame. This means that Notre Dame is benefiting from the loss to Cincinnati more than Cincinnati is benefiting from the win against Notre Dame, which is objectively awesome. A couple of 3-loss teams in there. Wisconsin and Purdue are 3-loss teams in there. Wisconsin and Purdue are ranked ahead of Iowa at 18, 19, 20. This will help Ohio State get to the playoff easily because they will have to beat one of those teams who the committee will make sure are ranked at the time. The University of Texas San Antonio is finally ranked. They're undefeated. The Meat Roadrunners are 9-0. They're ranked 23rd. Below 8-1 San Diego State, who has the greatest punter in world history. We'll talk about that at some point. If you think I'm joking, Google it. And I wouldn't bring it up, but people are doing the math, and they're like, hey, this guy might actually be worth a first-round pick. And if you've ever seen him punt, it seems fake. Like if you've ever made a character on Madden, like my running back is also my punter, and he kicks 90 yards. This guy's actually kicking 90 yards. He has more 50-yard punts than like every punter in the NFL. He's literally a weapon. Anyway, San Diego State is ranked 22nd. NC State is ranked. That should help nobody because the ACC is not going. Anything else interesting? BYU is 14 at 8-2. Utah is 6-3. When in doubt, rank Utah between 19 and 25. Makes total sense. Arkansas snuck back in this week. Who'd they beat? Mississippi State? Sure. Because they beat Mississippi State was ranked. Blah, blah, blah. Guys, I don't know. Georgia's the national champion. We don't even need bowls. They're the best team in the country. If they beat Alabama in the SEC championship, there's no reason to even play a bowl. Okay. Let's talk about this guy, this kid, actually, who came up with a scheme to meet Coach K. This is coming out in someone's book, I believe. So Coach K, through his people, released at one point in time that it was harder to get an interview with him than President Obama. However, back in the 80s, there was this 14-year-old kid, Ben Metzebaugh, who created a college basketball poll. I almost said football. A college basketball poll of like the best teams in college basketball so that he could talk to Coach K. And this was legit. This was legit shit. This guy, he created a poll. I didn't fact check this, but I am reading the screenshot, so it has to be true. This is what the screenshot says. And this guy, Andy, he does not have a blue check. No, I don't know if this can be real. He does not have a blue check mark, so therefore I can't confirm the validity of this screenshot. There was a poll in the 1980s that ranked the top 30 teams in Division I men's basketball. This is the quote, the U.S. Press Poll, love it, was founded in the late 80s by a 14-year-old named Ben who once spent $300 a month on phone bills, as he called coaches around the country. Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski and then Kentucky coach Rick Pitino and the late John Chaney were among the group of weekly voters, which also included sports writers. So he literally got to talk to Coach K because he invented a poll. And the poll was taken seriously, the U.S. poll. What's up? Shouts to that kid. Coach K and the Dukies started their farewell tour last night. Puke, throw up. God, it's so annoying. Can he just exit the way Joe Pa did in an insane scandal in stage 4 lung cancer? I'm joking. I don't wish cancer on anybody. But in a way, it wasn't that more dignified to be fired. Again, joking. These are jokes. Serious matter now. Carey Price, one of the best goalies in hockey history. I don't know, maybe top 25-ish. He stepped away for a time at the beginning of training camp to now. He just came back because he had mental health issues. This is well known. If you are Canadian and you play in a Canadian market in the National Hockey League, things can get pretty rough for you. Quote, over the last few years, I've let myself get to a very dark place and didn't have the tools to cope with the struggle. Last month, I made the decision to enter the residential treatment facility for substance use. Things had reached a point where I realized I needed to prioritize my health before myself and my family. Asking for help when you need it is what we encourage you to do. I'm working through years of neglecting my own mental health, which will take some time to repair. No word on what the substance is, but he says, I ask that the media and the hockey community continue to respect my privacy at this time. Your support and respect so far has been a critical piece of my recovery. The NHL has started a mental health program where players can just raise their hand and say, I'm having a mental health issue, and they can be put on leave. The league, not a team, a league will put them on leave, which is a really great, that's a really great thing that they're doing. Let's check back in with Scottie Pippen and hear the rest of this quote. This quote is about how the famous Michael Jordan flu game wasn't nearly as difficult as the Scottie Pippen back game. Scottie Pippen's doing this thing where he goes on he's writing a book, and now he's going on podcasts and radio shows and whatnot, and he's just kind of shitting on the Bulls, and he's trying to take credit for stuff, and you feel bad for him because he was one of the greatest players of all time, but Michael Jordan's shadow. So let's check back in with Scottie. Here we go. Remember, he was just saying how he was not able to play in Game 7 against the Utah Jazz.
And you know the way it works with us in the media. When Michael Jordan would get sick,
that's Frank Isola.
We make it seem like he came from his hospital bed
Yeah.
with IV stuck in his arm, and
It's
he's
in the
able to
book.
have, and he has these great accomplishments. But for you, that is pretty remarkable what you did. Again, I'm not saying you're doing it for people to give you credit, but do you feel that not enough was made of that moment? Because there you were playing hurt in a deciding game against a great Utah Jazz team.
Here's my breakdown on that.
I can't wait.
I'm going to ask you this.
All right.
He's got a great voice.
Is it easier to play with a herniated disc or to play with the flu?
They always say the worst injury to have is a bad back. So
Can't die from a bad back.
I don't see many bad back games, but I do see flu games.
Yeah. I mean, he has a point, but it's just sad. It's just sad, Scottie. You were an all-time great, and the greatest accomplishment you ever had to the game of basketball is being unbeatable at NBA Jam. Oh, my God. It's not possible to beat those guys. NFL MVP odds are moving all over the place. Josh Allen and Tom Brady had moved to the top ahead of last week before all of the favorites had a terrible game, except one, Lamar Jackson. My criticism of Lamar is like they can't come back. Well, now he leads the NFL in comebacks in the fourth quarter, and they're tossing the rock all over the place. Why do they even run him? Throw the ball. Dak Prescott was kind of up there for a while. Trash game. Matthew Stafford was up there for a while. Trash game. Kyler Murray was hurt. Josh Allen, trash game. One of the worst games he's played as a pro. Shouts to Jimmy Garoppolo, though. He is, I'm trying to do the math here. Jimmy Garoppolo is plus 15,000. That's 150 to 1, I think, or 1,500 to 1. I don't know. He is behind a tight end, a receiver, a defensive tackle, a receiver, and a running back. Yeah. Not great in San Francisco right now. And I'm just going to keep dunking on them while I need to. I used to call basketball games for like local media, so I want you to hear this dunk from Purdue. And man, Indiana really loves their basketball. Here we go. Let's listen to this guy go crazy.
Ivy with the steal. Beautiful dunk. Jaden Ivey, I'm falling out of my chair.
Oh my God, kid. Keep it in your pants. Indiana is like North Carolina, but what if they were worse at every sport by just a little bit? It's not funny. Purdue is Wake Forest. But it's actually hard to get into. Oh, God. Why am I the way that I am? It's unbelievable. College basketball returned over last night, and more big games coming this weekend. You can gamble on them if you so choose. Akron and Ohio both played pretty good college football games last night. Maction is back Tuesday, Wednesday. All that kind of stuff. Tomorrow is Thursday night football. We'll preview that game and take a look at what's going on around the NBA. The Boston Celtics rumored in the Ben Simmons sweepstakes. That's going to do it for this edition of Interesting to See. Like, rate, review, subscribe, etc., etc.